Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everybody, to this wonderful Shabbos. We are preparing, this is our last Shabbat service before Thanksgiving, so in a sense, this is our Shabbos of gratitude, so we are grateful for each other and the ability to be here and to continue to pray together. And we are also excited to have the opportunity to go forward and recognize new life. I am going to be excitedly with my daughter having the grandson birth, hopefully on the 25th. And Marianne, our president, in the spring will be going to Israel because her daughter is going to be having babies. So babies are happening. So, our congregant Dave Hebner, he's going to go back east because he's got baby blessings. So we will be fruitful and multiply, and we will continue to thrive. Now, Vayera means he appeared. And it opens, the Parsha opens, and we've given you some of that just before Heather sang, as guests, some angelic guests come to visit Abraham. And they come, and he's very, very hospitable to them. He opens up his home. He invites them in. He washes their feet. He is as gracious as can be. And the guests tell him that Sarah will give birth. Now, Sarah's quite old, and so is Abraham. And this information is actually a bit of a shock to him, and it is later a shock to her as well. Also in the Parsha, we go on later on, so you see like this pattern that happens, and God destroys the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. So what did we just have? Recently, we just had Parsha Noah, where we were wiped out. Now we have Sodom and Gomorrah, and you might know the story of Lot leaves with his wife, and she's told not to turn back, and she turns back, and what happens? She turns into a pillar of salt. Yes! So, lessons in learning how to listen to what you're told to do sometimes is a good idea. But despite Abraham's pleas otherwise, then there's a whole thing with God because he begs him not to do it. And what does this remind us of that comes later on? Moses. He is constantly pleading with God to please don't wipe us out. Please look the other way. Please don't pay attention to all of our discretions. Give us another chance. So we have both of our patriarchs fighting for us, always, when we actually appeared not to deserve it. They always felt that we had merit, and they saw past our present discretions and the error of our ways. We needed to rise above them, and we still do. We needed to do it then, and we still need to do it. Why? Because we are human, and we're going to err. Why? Because that's how we learn our lessons. Stuff's going to happen that's out of our control because there's some lesson we're supposed to learn. We don't know it now. We can only see it when we look back. Hopefully, we won't turn into a pillar of salt. Now, what time goes by? Sarah gives birth to Isaac. And then, as you heard, she sends her maidservant Hagar away along with her son Abraham and Ishmael. And as they are cast out, that darkest moment of Hagar comes, and then she is approached by an angel. So all these angels appear in this parsha. Diane and I have had a lot to say about that, but they really come to show us that we are not alone. So she assures her all is going to be well, and she gets through it. It's horrifically sad that eventually those two boys become the patriarchal cousins with lineages that now fight over the very land that each of them thought was their birthright, that we are still fighting over. Who has the right of ownership, even to this day? At God's command, Abraham prepares to sacrifice Isaac. When do we do this? We always hear about this at High Holy Days. Actually, I might be part of what you chant when we chant Erica at High Holy Days. But he has a moment. He has to decide, Abraham, whether he's going to surrender to God and is he going to give up his son that he fought so hard to get. Is Sarah going to let him just do this? Because, she went through so much to get Isaac. But an angel comes and lets him know everything's going to be okay. He heeded God's call. He showed his faithfulness, and then they sacrificed a ram instead. One of the many instances where angels intervene, they are God's messengers on high and around us. They appear. Vayera. They appear. When we least expect it, at some of our most challenging times. Many don't really realize that we actually believe in angels, and it's all over the Torah. We have talking donkeys. We have Jacob wrestling on a ladder to become Yisrael, to name just a few. The proof is there. They do exist. We just have to believe. On Shabbat, we call upon them in Shalom Aleichem to watch over us and guide us. But this is something that we can do all the time, every day, when we feel that we need it. They are walking with us always, waiting for our call, just like Adonai. There are also some feisty angels as well. And it is said that the Satan angel, the fallen one, whispered to Job, creating doubt and delusion and maybe some more bad choices. And that these angels lie in wait, all of them, the feisty ones and the good ones, most particularly the feisty ones, every Shabbat to check on us and to see if we are following God's command to observe the Shabbat. So you might remember in preschool, the Shabbos angels are peeking through the window to see if we're actually lighting those candles. I know there's a few people who might remember it. They're doing it like an older sibling that wants to get you in trouble, tattling on your misdeeds, getting you into trouble. Well, I want to thank all of you here tonight and those of you online for being here and proving them wrong. We're here, we're observing Shabbat, we had a lovely meal together, and we're going to go forward with light. It is also said that the little indentation above our lips, everyone touch that right there, is caused by the angel Gabriel giving us that kiss, that breath of life, bringing us that first breath that we take to be born into this world. Our parsha swings back and forth between the realities of earthly life and mystical and metaphorical divine guidance. We begin with heavenly hosts, as I said, visiting Abraham, setting the stage for his act of hospitality that is meant to be an example for us all. Abraham is an example of hospitality. Moses is an example of what it means to be righteous and to go forward no matter what, to just continue on the path of God. And he doesn't even get into the promised land. But both of them were willing to sacrifice their highest selves and those they loved most to be able to serve the Lord and us. And as we said, this parsha ends with the binding of Isaac, the only son that Sarah, an heir apparent, the future patriarch of the Jewish people, had. And the sacrifice was meant to show us that we should surrender to God in this earthly world. That doesn't mean to go sacrifice our children, but that we should surrender and have faith in the guidance that is coming to us and understand that God is truly watching us, even if it's from a distance. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it, especially when we think things should go a different way. All that, this that we have in our Torah, that especially in this parsha, lays the foundation for the struggle that we have even to this day, as I said, in the Middle East, with each nation believing that that land and all of the blessings belong to them. But we all have to remember that we're fighting for the same thing. We're fighting to live and love and to propagate and to be close to our beloved divine being that is carrying us forward in this life. And this is why, I will wear this. I wear this because we have to remember that we will dance again, we will go forward, and we can't let the negativity and the evil win. Sarah doesn't have a child at this moment in time until the divine steps in. And it's only after she goes ahead and gives her selflessly to Hagar to give birth to Ishmael that she is then given the opportunity to have a child. Thousands of years in between, but that struggle still remains the same. The jealousy, the hatred, the deep wounds reaching back farther than we could ever know, creating a pain that is so deep in our DNA that the ramifications can still be felt today. Sodom and Gomorrah fall in this parsha as a testament to what can go wrong when humanity goes awry. And this is something that we need to watch, heed, and be very careful of today. We need to protect that which is good and our humanity as a whole. The Torah lays it all out for us. We just need to process the message and obey. The question is, year after year, as the Torah is rolled back to the beginning and we start all over again, will we really? How far are we willing to go to really uphold that which is moral and right, just and true? Will we learn from our mistakes, heed God's call and commands, profit from the stories of where our ancestors went wrong, and they all do something and go wrong? Or do we succumb to our humanity, focusing on our flaws rather than our attributes? And we all do it. We need to let go, let God, and let God guide us and be kind to ourselves and focus on that which is good within us and play it forward. Literally play it out in our lives, give that goodness to the next person and the next and the next, and hopefully create something different than what we might be living in the current time. The angels are there to help us, but we have to do the work. Kabbalists believe that whether a sacred text and experience or the way things work, God is there, moving always in mysterious ways. However, they also believe that true knowledge and understanding of that inner mysterious process is obtainable, and through that knowledge, the greatest intimacy with God we can actually ever attain. It is there, we can get it, we just need to access it. We need to surrender. We need to continue to grow and to learn and to expand and to do things differently and try to find what works. This is why we get an example in our Parsha of how metaphysical and mystical attributes of all of our individuals that in the stories that we're going through and learning about, how they play such an important part in our journey, an important part in our destiny, and an important part in how our lives will unfold, our earthly lives. Straddling with the angels and with God to guide us. We are there in the middle. They are there to guide us and create the foundation upon which we can all build. As I said, many don't believe in angels, many don't believe in God, but all are searching. Abraham smashed the idols so that the knowledge of the one true God would be known and could be relied upon. By bearing witness, as we do in the Shema and Quinn so lovingly led us, we will have much more to guide us than lifeless statues. We don't want to think that we are all alone, adrift without a paddle, floating aimlessly at sea, but oftentimes we feel like it. Our stories are meant to remind us yearly as we go through that book that we are not alone, that there is a higher plan and a better path ahead if we are willing to open ourselves up, heed the messages, and act accordingly. The choice is up to us. It always has been, and it always will be. One good thing about us, we are resilient. We can take a lot, and we don't give up. Look at Israel today. They are still going on. They don't stop. The choice, once again, is up to us. However, those in other camps on our cousin's side, on Ishmael's side of the equation, guess what? They have the same fortitude within them. The question is, which angels will walk with either side of us? Which angels are we going to listen to? Those feisty ones or the other ones? Just like in the physical world, the mystical one can be filled with good, bad, and mischievous influences as well. So the question remains the same. Which will we choose to listen to and guide us? It's a centuries-old choice. All of us here today are trying our best to make the right one and live in the light of the Lord. May it be God's will that the path ahead will be filled with blessing and good angels to guide us. King Yehiratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.